Hello, everybody. This is Melissa from Sovereign Planet, and today I would like to talk about habits and having a strong set of habits, that we have integrated and that serve us and allow us to recalibrate. We all have periods of time where we kind of fall out of balance, fall out of our practices, and fall out of our center, the reality in which we are incarnated, which we are experiencing, is quite demanding and challenging, energetically speaking. Not just energetically speaking, but also energetically speaking. And so it's very, I want to say, kind of normal for us to kind of fall out of track every so often. There's nothing to we shouldn't judge ourselves for that. What's important is to first of all be aware of it, acknowledge it, be able to notice when we are sliding off, and being able to shift back our focus and recenter and recalibrate. And I found that for me, what works well is I have a set of habits which I know serve me. And I have them written down actually, and I kind of try and track them, but that's besides the point. Having this set of habits, which I know work for me, which I know I've integrated and don't require that much effort from me anymore because I've integrated them so well, I would say. And by integrated, I mean I don't do them every day, and sometimes I don't do them for several days or even weeks at a time. But I have been practicing them for so long that they're really very much integrated in that sense. So when I fall out of balance, these habits are what I refer to, what I shift my focus on when I'm trying to recalibrate and recenter, which happens every so often. Like I said, it's quite normal. And when we have this set of habits, it can be 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't overwhelm. It's better not to overwhelm ourselves with too many, but having like having them as a strong foundation, something that we build ourselves upon, and that will act as an anchor into our highest expression, highest timeline, highest individual timeline. These act as an anchor, and the more you practice them and you declare them as such, sorry, I can't find the word, as your anchor, you define them as your anchor, the more powerful they will be for you. And so there are like very common ones like meditation, yoga, grounding, and things like that. And they're common for a reason because they're so efficient. But then it's up to each individual to prioritize them and know which one are more powerful and potent for ourselves individually in the moment. And for instance, I'm going to give you an example of my own experience. As an example, I insist. Having nourishing and healthy food is a common one. But for me, since I have such imbalanced relationship with food, I have had for a long time, this is more triggering than it is helpful. So what works for me is intermittent fasting, and this is something that I do with ease. And in doing intermittent fasting, which it's not triggering for me, so that's why I choose it, naturally the food I eat is healthier and more nourishing, so you have to find what works for you as an individual, taking into consideration your own journey, past, present, and future, and your own triggers, your own wounds, and eventually that you eventually need to heal at some point, but be aware of where you're at in the moment. That's very important. And so like I said, I choose intermittent fasting over choosing nourishing food, because if I focus too much on eating quote unquote healthy foods, it triggers binge eating for me. So I work around that because obviously healthy food is nourishing for the body and it's a good way for us to recalibrate. That's an evidence, that's an obvious thing. But if I focus on it, for me, it triggers imbalance. So I work around it by doing intermittent fasting, which can be triggering for some people. I know it is. For me, it works fine. If I focus on intermittent fasting, naturally, it eases down my relationship with food and I'm able to recalibrate and naturally will be drawn to those healthier, more nourishing foods. So you have to find those habits that work for you. Really, it's important to cultivate, to develop a great sense of self by observing the self-awareness, and understanding where you're at in the moment without judging yourself. I could judge myself and be like, oh, I should be focusing on healthy food because it's such an obvious thing that healthy food are healthy for us. And that they will help us, be more grounded and recalibrate ourselves and are aligned to our highest expression. But because of where I am in this moment and where I've been before, this is triggering, so I have to work my way around that. Other habits that are really good are meditation, for instance. Meditation is a very wide term that really encompasses a lot of different techniques. It can be in the traditional sense of, this effortless concentration, and working really on your focus and having no thoughts. This is what some people call the original definition of meditation, but it can also be guided meditation. It can be focusing on gratitude, or for some people may even enter meditative states by practicing mindfulness. So if you are gardening is a great example. People may enter deep states of meditation, deep meditative states while gardening because they're doing it very mindfully and focusing solely on what they're doing, kind of removing themselves from the external, when the thoughts are solely focused on the act of gardening, the action of gardening. So meditation is an umbrella term, and once again, it's up to us to find the type of meditation that works for us. Obviously, it's commonly known, again, that meditation in general is good for people. But then what meditation is good for you, it's up to you to find it, and experiment with different types, variety. You can focus on breath, for instance. I'm going to give another example, a personal example. Breath work is very difficult for me because I nearly died of an asthma attack in 2015. So that's 6 years ago. And it kind of triggered a bit of anxiety around breathing in general, So now it's fine most of the time. If I do breath work, I can handle it. But there are times where it's going to be triggering for me. Focusing on my breath, can be triggering. And so I have once again to adjust and find another form of meditation that will serve me better, So once again, it's about really learning to know yourself, know what you can and cannot do in the moment. And there's no judgment, there's no shame, it's really, there is no value to be added to that, As long as you're seeking improvement in your life and you're seeking growth, then there is absolutely no judgment to be had. So other habits that I implement, as an example, I'm sharing these as an example, to give ideas maybe what you can do. But I'm not saying that you should follow the same habits or follow the same practices, But another one I use daily that I know help me recalibrate as well, is the 12D shield. I speak about that often. It's a shielding technique that was created by Lisa Renee. I'm sure a lot of you know, but if not, you can it's on YouTube, 12D shield. You'll find it. It's Um, Meditative technique which allows you to strengthen your auric field and your light body and strengthen your energetic boundaries. So this is also common practice, of strengthening your aura, strengthening your auric field, or some people call it raising your vibration. So this is also a practice that is known to help, but there is a variety of ways to do that. So I practice the 12D shield. It helps me really strengthen my boundaries, but if that doesn't resonate with you, you can find other techniques that work for you. Grounding in nature and being in nature, again, this is also something that is commonly accepted and known to be very helpful for the physical body as well as the energetic bodies. There's a variety of ways, again, to do this. You can simply go out in your garden and put your barefoot on the grass or in the earth, on the soil. This is the most straightforward way to ground, but this is not always accessible. So you can go out in nature, and if you can't walk barefoot, just bathing in a forest, and bathing in the aura of trees, has similar effects. Or you can touch the trees with your hands, that's another way to ground. Being near bodies of water, or actually in bodies of water, is even better. But again, that's not always accessible. If for whatever reason you're not able to even go out, which can happen, we can be bedbound for whatever reason, or if you don't have nature around you that is easily accessible, you can do this through meditation and visualization. Maybe find some forest and rainforest noises tracks. There are many on YouTube you can find, where you hear birds and rainfall and even waves of the oceans. Play a track like this and visualize yourself being in nature. It's not the same, obviously, but it's very efficient as well, and will help you relax and relax your nervous system anyway, so that will be beneficial, even if it's not literally grounding. So there are tons of habits like that you can implement. Trying to look for yoga. I talked about yoga a little bit in the beginning. Yoga is also commonly practiced nowadays, and this is known to have a variety of benefits on the physical body as well as on the energetic bodies. It's a form of meditation as well, if you practice it as such anyway. And it can be very beneficial, but it may not be your thing as well, and that's perfectly fine. Practicing exercises in general is a good habit also to have as an anchor. Whatever, running, biking, swimming, even going to the gym and lifting weights. I don't do that, but I'm sure it's very beneficial as well. And what's important is that you have a few sets of those habits that, like I said in the beginning, support your highest expression, that make you a better person, healthier, more balanced, more grounded, more focused, more elevated, and that allow you to grow. It can be reading, it can be also writing, journaling, it can be creating art, if you're an artist, if you're like painting, drawing, even if you're not good at it, you can enjoy it, by the way. That's important to note. What else? I said gardening as well. Stargazing, I think it's a great one. I used to do that a lot a few years ago. I still do off every now and then, but I used to have this routine where every single night after everybody would gone to bed, I would grab a cup of tea and go outside. No matter winter or summer, I would just dress up and bundle up, go outside and stargaze for 30 minutes and to an hour, depending on, obviously, the forecast. You have to be able to see the sky, but that's a really great practice to have. I can't think of anything else right now, but anyways, there are many more habits like so that will help you have a more meaningful life and better yourself. And if you're able to find those few habits, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many you can find, and really make them consistent practice, that you refer to over and over again whenever you slide out of, your alignment. That these will act like a bearing, if you are, for whatever reason, have a hard time, hardships happen in your life, there will be a bearing, yet you can always refer back to those habits, this set of habits, and that will allow you to ground back to your inner self, your most authentic self and highest expression, your highest timeline, and allow you to recenter, like so, over and over again. It's a practice, So, yeah, defining this set of habits, and writing them down maybe somewhere, having them somewhere, physical, where whenever you feel completely lost or you're in a rut or whatever reason, you have this set of habit that that you've practiced for years, month, whatever, and that they serve you, and that if you go back to these routines, they will slowly help you move out of that difficult phase. So yeah, I hope this provides some insight and some support. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.